The Kansas City Chiefs are taking a gamble, but Jaden Hicks is completely worth it. Let's break it down. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to the deck. It is probably going to rain on me, so I'm going to try to get this one in pretty quick. And as we go through, OTAs have begun. We're waiting for mandatory minicamp to come around, and there's a lot going on. But one thing's clear. Jaden Hicks needs to take a step forward. The Chiefs are counting on it. Now, if you missed previously, this safety position has been one that's been kind of up for grabs. We talked about Brian Cook a couple weeks ago. Really want to focus back in on what's going on with Jaden Hicks. And Hicks is unique. He's jumped into this defense and he's made a lot of progress. Really, nobody since Trent McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed in the last 6 seasons has jumped into the secondary and been able to make an impact. When you look just at takeaway numbers, Jaden Hicks is already ahead of everybody else. There's takeaways and then there's takeaways, and he seems to be a guy that's in position that can do the job, fill in for the hole that is left by Justin Reed, and really get something done for the next evolution of this Chiefs secondary. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be smooth sailing every single time, but I do think that he has a natural knack for taking the ball away, as does Chamari Connor, as does rookie Noah Williams. So now you've added 3 players that are good at taking the ball away, specifically in this type of defense. That's one thing. The physicality that Hicks brings, I thought we saw it a few times on display as a rookie, but not near what I think it's going to become in this next season. Because I think his ability to take the ball away is one thing that puts him in position. He's always in position to be close. Now it's going to be, he's going to become that enforcer that he was in college. I don't think it'll happen all of a sudden, but certainly by Christmas, when we're talking about special games and on national TV, he's going to be making an impact by making impacts, and that's what we're looking for. The kid's really got probably the most potential of anybody we've seen at this position since Tyrann Mathieu left, to tell you the truth. And that's not a slight against Justin Reed. He's done a hell of a job. I think Hicks is overall a better athlete. Obviously doesn't have the experience, doesn't have the instincts that Reed had, and he is going to have to make up for some of that in this season. But what he does bring is that ability to be a little bit of everywhere. Now, what I want the Chiefs to be cautious about is you can't gamble that he can be a single high, like stick him in the back of the defense and let him do that. That's not his thing. Is he capable of playing split with Cook? Possibly. And I think they'll be okay. There will be an occasional play that gets behind them and something big that gets given up. I don't think there's a way to avoid that right now until the volume of reps and attacks that he sees goes way, way up. But when that does happen, I think he'll be in a better position. But the truth is, he and Cook are better at playing down, playing near the line of scrimmage. So somebody's going to have to do that. I think it ends up being Cook, and Hicks is the gamble that pays off, because if he can continue along this path, outproducing turnovers for Chamari Connor, who's been here same volume, but been here a year longer. Jalen Watson, he's got more than Trent McDuffie. Obviously, we know a lot about McDuffie, and turnovers, takeaways are not really his thing, but it's starting to become so. And if he wants to get that epic contract that we think is on the horizon for Trent McDuffie, he's definitely got to lean towards that. But for Hicks, he's got to continue to push himself to be the takeaway guy in this secondary. If he can do that, I think he's got the instincts to be in the right place at the right time. When he hits somebody, he's got to protect himself a little bit better. I thought he was a little reckless at times trying to lay a big hit. Most of them worked, but don't want now, not your third safety, but your starter at strong or whatever you want to call it. Really, safety's interchangeable in this system, always have been. That's why Dan Sorensen ended up playing all over the place. That's why Jaden Hicks will end up playing all over the place. Sometimes in his strength in the box and sometimes not. But as long as he doesn't put himself in a position to get hurt, then they're going to be okay. Because beyond that, they have Mike Edwards, a veteran that actually had a takeaway for the Chiefs as well, and has seen a lot and played in this defense. But I don't think they're ready to rely on him. I don't think they want to, and if they do, he's a good safety blanket to have, but I don't think for a prolonged number of snaps and number of games that that's the best way to go. Then the real question marks come down to what Chamari Connor's going to do. They are still forcing him to try to practice at the nickel, and I don't think that's going to be a long-term goal. I hear he's a little bit quicker out there, side-to-side, lateral agility, which is critical when playing nickel. And he's always been okay at it, but he got exposed last year. He's got to be a guy that plays in space to make the most of his skill set, in my opinion. And I think he's shown a knack. He had a couple of nice plays last year as well. But again, Hicks has done in one season what's taken guys 2 and 3 to produce. So put him in a role that helps him. And I think for Connor, that means playing in the middle in that robber role that we used to see Tyrann Mathieu in. I think as the third safety, the dime safety that comes in and just plays havoc with reads for the opposing quarterback, I think that is the best goal. But it's all about taking that gamble on Jaden Hicks being ready to be the man that's on the field all the time. He and Cook need to be a dynamic duo. And they got to take care of that. There's no way around it. So if they can do that, I think they'll be in pretty good shape. They'll set themselves up. What it does to the secondary and the corners is another thing that we're going to talk about another time. But there are 2 players that are currently, or at least last season, have been lining up at corner of one type or another and are getting reps there in OTAs so far, but are getting some safety reps as well. And that is Chris Rowland-Wallace and Najee Johnson, who comes with a safety background. So I don't think that's too far of a stretch to go. And I do think that that's something that if you have the interoperability where you can switch guys in and Hicks has to do something here, or you need him to play in the box and be more of the backer that he is, I think you can. What's going to be really interesting is once they make the 53 and everything's stabilized and everybody knows where they're supposed to be in terms of like what their depth chart is, they're going to start putting combinations out there that I think they're going to evolve, where you're going to end up with Cook out there, Hicks out there, and Bossa out there in some plays. Bossa's more athletic than the other linebackers, including Drew Tranquill. He can turn and run in coverage. He is an actual nickel backer, whereas Hicks is kind of the safety put into that role. They're really not that different in terms of body type, about 20 pounds of build. They do look quite different in the way that they're built, but that's okay. They can be a duo in passing sets that I think allows the Chiefs to evolve if they can get everybody out of trying to run on them. So it's a long road to get there. Cook we talked about, Hicks we talked about, Connor we talked about. Edwards is the safety blanket. Edwards is the guy that Mike's been there, he's done that. He knows the defense pretty well. I won't say he knows it back to front because everything kind of evolves all the time, but his experience in it will pay off. If they have to break glass and bring Mike in, I think he's as good an option as they had in free agency, certainly. And I think he's somebody that can stabilize for a few games. But the key is going to be having those 3 young guys on the field as much as you possibly can. If you can't get that done, that's going to produce some trouble. What do they do in that case? Well, then they look at maybe bringing over some corner talent. I think on the practice squad, they're going to end up having at least a safety, probably 2 corners, maybe an extra DB beyond that. Who that becomes is going to be about who plays special teams and who, if they got down to injury, would be able to come on the field and actually produce in the defense. Right now, the shoe-in for that is Deon Bush. He's still alive and ticking in OTAs. I think he'll make it through training camp. I think he'll end up on the practice squad, but he would be like the absolute, hey, the whole world's on fire. We need a safety. We'll bring in Deon because he's made plays for them before, even on short notice. That goes a long way in this defense and for Steve Spagnuolo. Now, watch carefully. If you're interested in this defense, what Spag says at his conferences. He will give you little hints about what's going on. Sometimes you have to read in between the lines, but that's what I'm here for. So let me know what you think. Like, sub, hit the bell. Thanks for being with me. I appreciate you. I'm on the road this week, so you're going to see me out and about. This one is pre-recorded by a couple of days, but not too much. So keep an eye out for the live, for Dan's film, for Gary's stats, and everything else that we're doing as we get ready for mandatory minicamp coming up on the 17th. Have a good one. I'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.